What's up? Back.
Back. Here we go.
We have a great guest on. Oh, you're echoing again, I guess. I think we're gonna have to buy you a new mic.
Let's see when that can get into the budget.
Yeah. Why? Maybe I'll just send you one. They're not. I might. Maybe I'll send you. I have a couple that I don't use anymore. That would be good.
That would be a bonus. That could help.
Or there could be something that you have on your settings that I'm not sure. You know, I would have to look at your computer. Like sometimes it could be what you have setting wise is input and output and stuff. So, but without seeing your side, I can't tell. I couldn't tell you. So we got a great guest on today. We're gonna have Tarig Holman from St. Thomas Aquinas, who is the head coach there. This will be his second year there. They had a lot of success last year. The program's a smaller parochial program, but on the rise and really starting to get a lot of good players and gaining traction. And he has obviously a great path, not just up from a coaching standpoint, but he was Division I player at Penn State, right? And really had that experience being a big time recruit. So we'll get to talk to him about that, which will be really great. And what kind of his process was many moons ago, and how maybe that's changed over the years. I think also talking to him going from, I think he was mostly a public school coach until going to St. Thomas Aquinas. So that's probably a little different change. We'll find out, from him if it is, and talk more about that. But he has great experience. He's one of the leaders in the state from a coaching standpoint. It would be great to talk to him, not just about football, but, kind of how he approaches everything.
Yeah, Coach has been around. I've known Coach for a couple of years now, since going back to North Jersey days when he was at Randolph High School. Been at a couple different spots. Always been successful in terms of whatever teams that he's been a part of. Like you said, coming from a lot of tradition in Randolph High School to play at the University of
think we may have lost Coach D. Technical difficulties for him. But yeah, so Coach D's known him for a long time. We're excited to talk to Coach when he gets on. For those of you who have not, or who have fallen off the cliff on this standpoint, last night we did have. I saw a lot of stuff doing the rounds, because obviously the Jets had a preseason game if you're out here in New Jersey, but a lot of everything is kind of kicked off, which is really cool, and the Hard Knocks is going. So I got to watch that first episode. I saw some great stuff, so I'm excited to watch that. College football's not too far away. I think 3 weeks before we start games. High school probably pretty much the same thing. So it's going to be pretty exciting season, especially interesting to see with NIL and transfer portal how this has really affected a lot of teams. We'll get to see the effects, good, bad, and ugly, of all of those different things from a standpoint of Coach D on the call. Are you on the phone?
Yeah, my connection issues messed up, but he just texted me and said his hot water heater blew, so he's not even gonna be able to come on. So
can you come on just from your face?
I'm gonna come back on from my phone.
Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah. So it would be really interesting to see. How about that? That's the first time taking a call on the call. We're gonna really see. And unfortunately, we just found out Tarig Holman is not going to be able to be on the show, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But we'll carry on and I guess edit edit it into what we are going to be talking about, which we're going to talk a lot of college football here. Talk about what you need to be really doing to prepare yourself. And while you are myfootballcamps.com/D1 promo, make sure you check it out. And really get an opportunity to get yourself recruited. This D1 promo that me and Mike Farrow are doing is second to none. There's nothing like it in the world. And it is helping kids get recruited, get offers like nothing you have ever seen. This is the time right now, myfootballcamps.com/D1 promo. This is the time right now to get on there and really get yourself an opportunity to get recruited. It's a big, big deal. And, you check out me at coachschuman.com. If you have questions about the D1 promo, DM me. This is the time. Don't wait until your season starts as 2024, because then you are going to be up, what's creek, and you're going to be in all of a sudden, I got under recruited. Well, here I am telling you, this is your opportunity to not be under recruited. DM me, at Coach Schuman on Twitter. We just had a bunch of guys commit. Griffin Egan committed to Harvard. Our linebacker out of Florida, Cyrus Abu, just picked up his second offer now. And we have guys left and right that are Carson Rauner, quarterback, just committed to Holy Cross. So, I mean, it's just one after another. And the mistake that people think is that I need 50 offers. No, you need a few. Yeah, you need one. That's really all you need. But that's what we're looking to do. Like, you get yourself that exposure. It's going to make all the difference. It's the opportunity that you need. So check that out. I got Coach D back on the cell phone. First time. Welcome, first time caller.
Well, listen, I guarantee you the mic actually sounds better probably, and I don't have any echo, so obviously it's something to do with
something with your
whatever. Yeah, I mean,
it's probably settings.
Like I said, as we grow and do stuff, like I would like to, you know what I mean? Like,
I have a mic for you.
A mic would be good. Like, that stuff would be good as we grow and do. I mean, look, we kind of started this kind of just like, hey, let's work with what we got. And now, as we get a little higher level, right, maybe start to get some different types of people on, I think we can kind of grow and go like that. But it definitely sounds better. But, Coach, I'm glad you were mentioning the D1 promo, because like you said, these guys now, this is time. The time is now, right? Like, you're starting to get into your seasons. You're going to start having more tape, whether it was or whatever. Now's the time, because these college coaches, they're worried about their seasons, but the recruiting aspect of it never stops. So that's just something that continues to grow. So guys, don't wait too long to jump into it, because I'm telling you, with the stuff that we've seen from the guys that have participated and done it, once they get that first one too, with our help, then it's just kind of just keeps continuing to go and go and go. So definitely something that guys need to look at and jump on. If they have questions, like you said, they can message you and kind of ask them, and you'll answer them and be good to go. So definitely something to look into.
There's no doubt about it. It just makes a huge difference. Like, I did a post. I can't remember if it was Braden Kelly was the last post I did, but whatever the last post I had just done, and within 3 hours, it was over 10,000 views.
Right.
And it ended up being like 25,000. I mean, if you have 100 followers, you're going to get like 200 views, on your thing.
And they're going to be from like grandma and dad. You know what I mean? It's not the look, we want them to view your stuff too, but at the same time,
yeah.
When this is posted, it goes to a certain clientele that it's the clientele you're looking for, right? It's the clientele you want to see. And had they not participated or had not made the connection with you, these people will not see their film. It's just how it works. It is what it is. It's not going to get in front of the right eyes that you need it to get in front of in order to get where you want to go.
Well, recruiting is gone, and whether people like it or not, if you're in a super high end, like really, really high end, unless you want, to be on our promo because you want to be the number one player in the country, okay, which I could serve that purpose. But if you're a guy who's really a slam dunk, you're not going to need that program,
right?
Okay. unless, like I said, we had a couple kids that wanted to be the number one player in the
Right.
country.
Unless you're trying to leverage it for something else.
Something
right?
else. NIL. And you can leverage it for NIL. Like so
100%. That's
there
right.
are other ways to leverage it, which we really haven't tapped. Me and Mike
Right.
have not tapped at. Like, does this promotion, if you're a top tier kid, help you get
Right.
more NIL deals? Does a year long of $1,000 end up getting you 10,000 from down because you get more?
Right.
That's something we have to explore more, that potentially. But those, as far as recruiting wise, those guys are going to get recruited to a certain level unless they're in some level of obscurity for whatever reason. Those top tier guys. But then there's FCS to group of 5, what I call, right? And even lower power 5. Lower, not meaning lower level, lower meaning they haven't, maybe not as prominent a program. I'm not going to name names, but maybe not as prominent a program, but still playing in a Power 5 conference. Those players, which is like every year, I don't know, between all the grade levels, what are we talking? 12 to 15,000 guys at least, that are between each grade level. Those guys really have to work to get their name out there, because of those 12 to 15 that get the scholarships in each one of those classes, or it's like 3,000 or 4,000 each class. Of those guys, it's probably about 100,000 players that are all within range of each other of those 12,000. And I don't know if that makes a ton of sense. That's what I was trying to kind of figure out the best way to say it. But there's a pool of 100,000 players fighting for the FCS, lower FBS, group of 5, lower Power 5 conference schools, right? 100,000 players, and let's say there's 12,000 or 15,000 spots between each class, freshman, sophomore, junior, all of them together. They're all pretty close. People don't realize that. The top tier, which was identified when the NFL started focusing on flag football a lot, the big push for flag football, their philosophy, I read this, Troy Vincent put this out there. He's the number 2 guy to Goodell, said the 3,000 guys that we need each year to be NFL players, those people are different guys. Those guys are going to always be out there. It's the rest of the people that they want to really, they're worried about enjoying the football. Now, whether I agree with that or not, I actually disagree with that statement, because if you don't have a large pool here, eventually this pool here is less. And I use boxing as the example, right? Boxing was a huge sport, Joe Louis. I mean, we weren't alive, but, I read all the books, Joe Louis, Max Schmeling, Jersey Joe Walcott, all these heavyweights there was a large pool. Boxing was a way out for lots of people, because a lot of people didn't have corporate jobs back then. A lot of people were working class people. There's still a lot of working class people, but there's a rise of white collar jobs, right? So larger pool, boxing, you get lots of guys that are pretty good. Joe Louis maybe was at the top, Rocky Marciano after him, but there was a lot of guys. All those fights were battles. Now let's look at boxing now.
Oof.
First of all, heavyweights, does anyone even know who they were? The 2 big guys from Russia, They lasted forever at the top, right? The last time there was really a lot of heavyweights was when, 80s and 90s, a decent time period. And really, it was because
when was the last time people were talking about boxing being, you know what I mean? Like when, UFC has kind of like come in and kind of done that and created like Dana White's got a nice little business model. He's also kind of like a no nonsense down, like, he's a different type of CEO, I want to say, right? Like, so
Yep.
I think he presents things a certain way. He was one of those guys that during COVID kind of tried to like, hey, I can take advantage of something here. And like, all right, let's just put all these dudes on an island and like go from there and figure something out. Whereas, the boxing world has just continued to kind of like, the whole, it's so violent now with more concussion stuff coming out of like who would want to do this, and that there's just been other ways for those guys that now used to look at that as a way of survival. now with that there's other ways out, there's other avenues. I don't have to box to get out, right? So I feel like that kind of hurt a little bit, but at the same time you're looking at the same exact thing. If there's no now pool, right? So if we were continue just the way football looked like, the way it was going when the concussion stuff started to come out and people were starting to go away from it, or it's a violent sport and we need to do something else, so we started to kind of change it and whatnot. Those are the things that had to happen in order for it to continue. So it's comparable.
Right. And I'm not saying it's going to go on the extreme level, because football is obviously much more popular than boxing. But when you talk about the pool of players, why is Mayweather and Pacquiao last so long without anyone close to them?
Right.
Like, because there just isn't enough of a pool of guys to get other guys to the top at that level, right? So when someone gets to the top, they stay there because there isn't that many people to knock them off the cliff. And so, and UFC is a great example, who's increased by marketing, increased their pool of people.
Tons.
Their pool was very tiny in the beginning.
Right.
And they actually
looked at it as kind of
their pool.
It's like a gimmick, right? It was like it's not wrestling, but it's not boxing, but it's not this, right? It's kind of, people were trying to feel it out. And then when they realized kind of like what it was, oh, okay, this could be something that we enjoy, right? Also, I don't know. Boxing, it's like, hey, you have a big match, right? And then you got to wait, a year, 2 years for like another big one to come about. You know what I mean? There wasn't enough, football's every Sunday, like you're getting something every Sunday, where boxing, you got to wait a longer time, where, so now each one of those big time fights needs to be just that. It needs to be a Super Bowl like atmosphere in order to create any type of revenue or any type of anything. I just think it's too much for what this, we live in an immediate society, right? Like, we want things now. We don't want to wait a year for the next fight. Look at how many years they waited for Mayweather Pacquiao to actually happen. And then when it did happen, it was kind of like, well, is Pacquiao still who he was? Is this guy still who he was? You know what I mean? It happened 6 years later.
Right. And so circling all the way back to the D1 promo on this, if you have a pool of players that are fighting for a certain number of spots and everybody has a certain range they're in, promotion makes a big difference. Because if everybody's pretty close and we find out about one, but we don't know about the other,
what are you going to do to separate yourself? And this is what could be that separation.
That's correct. And I mean, I'm so excited about it because it's worked really if you we talk all about the process, but in this case, you want to know, does the end result actually happen? And the end result has. So it's a huge difference. And but yeah, I mean, football, which is coming around in the next few weeks, which is I'm super jazzed up. College football in the next 3 weeks. High school, same time, right?
Yep, 25th around August.
And then 3 weeks from basically Friday, right? We're talking. And then we got, obviously, the NFL started last night. I've already had to see clips of Travis Wilson tripping, and I mean, boy, this guy can't get. Was he not? Well, you watched. I didn't watch the game. I remember.
I watched specifically that play where 3rd and 2, he makes a great move to get out of it, right? Like, it looks like, oh, cool, first down, and the dude slips. Like, it's like
he can't catch a break.
You're like, this poor dude, right? Like, all everybody's talking about is how he's such a bust, and now he's just got to whatever and play behind Rod. I mean, for him, not bad being a backup, making that kind of money, right? But if you're a competitor, now you still have that fire. You're also, what do you do? Do I just? I mean, you take it because you're getting paid whatever you're getting paid, but you're still looked at as that bust, right? And now you're sitting behind, probably a Hall of Famer. I guess you just sit there, soak it up, and kind of go with it. I don't really know how you approach it. As a competitor, I'm pissed. As a businessman, I'm probably not as pissed. I'm probably satisfied with collecting my check, sitting in the back there, and then learning. I don't know. It's a really weird, hard situation. You kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time, it's get better.
Well, who is better? Tim Boyle or Wilson?
Boyle I like just because he's like steady Eddie, but
He's steady Eddie, yeah.
he's never going to be the two because they're giving the other guy too much money.
Oh yeah. I was just curious who looked better. I mean, Wilson has a
Cannon.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a cannon. He's just look, in the old days, those guys sat for. I mean, Aaron Rodgers sat for 5 years, right? 4 or 5 years. Steve Young sat for a long time behind Montana.
That majority of those guys sat because it was, hey, this is an investment, right? Like this isn't, we're down the road. We got to get this guy prepared. We're not just going to throw him to the wolves. Peyton Manning was one of the very few guys that came in and started from day one and just, I don't know even how many games he won the first season. Not a lot.
No, I'm curious. Did Elway start right away too?
Oh, he might have because he was like, I'm not going here. If I don't go,
I remember that.
Baseball, right? Like he kind of leveraged.
I feel like he was one of the first guys to say, "I'm not doing,"
Like no, like I'm not there. If I'm gonna get drafted there or whatever, then I'll play baseball.
So he didn't start. Let's see. Elway joined one of the most highly touted. He was local. 82. Craig Morton retired in 82. So he was the backup. He's basically backup split time early on. Even he didn't start right away. He played though. He did play.
There's something to right, like playing. And my whole thing is, I look at it too, like I personally don't. I feel like, look, in some way, shape, or form, your backup quarterback's gonna have to win you at least one game during the season.
Yeah,
just
no
the way
doubt.
the NFL works, like.
Well, I typed in Joe Montana. First I typed in Montana. I just saw a beautiful picture of Montana, which is where I'd rather be right now. But
yeah, it looks a lot nicer than Jersey. I'll tell you that.
I mean, although it's been nice out this week.
Gorgeous. These guys are spoiled. If you're in camp in the weather that happened this week, that's nice. Now, last week with some humidity, no.
Montana, did he start right away? Montana did not start right away. I was just curious. A year and a half in, he became a start. I'm just curious. In the old days, like I'm sure Johnny United started right away because there probably wasn't anybody else. Some of those guys in the early years, right? But like when it started to get a multitude of quarterbacks, I feel like a lot of guys, that 70s, 80s, maybe the 90s have probably started to change, is my guess.
Yeah, like Troy Aikman, did he sit?
I don't think Troy Aikman's. That's a good question. Troy Aikman.
I know I think I know he struggled when he came in.
Troy Aikman. Okay, here we go. Troy Aikman was 89. It looks like he played right away.
Right.
He have you ever seen I don't know what it is with the thing on Troy Aikman, but like covers his, I don't know if it's an NFL thing or what I've seen it like on TikTok, but it was talking about, so when he was at Oklahoma and he was the starter at Oklahoma, he let me get this right. So when he was a starter at Oklahoma, I don't remember what they went to. They went to a bowl game or whatever. He did really well. And then I want to say he got hurt, and the guy who took his place was Jamel Holloway.
That's your guy.
Yep. I just happened to see this the other, because I knew he came in and I knew he was playing, but I didn't know what happened. He got hurt, and Jamel Holloway went in and they won the national championship. That's what it was. And
that was with who? Switzer?
That was with Switzer. Troy Aikman was running a triple option, but they were throwing a decent amount with him because he could obviously throw.
Right.
And Switzer called up in the offseason, the UCLA head coach and said, I have a guy and he's a star. And he was skeptical because he said most of the time when people call him up, like, well, back then for a transfer, it's like it's a headache. It's they're just they're lying because they just want to get rid of this guy. They're not telling the truth. But he said, I'm telling you, this guy is a first round draft pick. He's just we're running a triple option, and we have a guy that's Jamel Holloway, who basically became the greatest, when people think about the greatest triple option quarterbacks of all time, he is probably on the Mount Rushmore of triple option quarterbacks. You probably don't know who he is because you probably were a baby or you weren't even born yet.
I caught him at the end.
Maybe at the end but he was like, of his highlights, it's like he makes running the triple option.
He makes people want to do it.
Well, no,
he makes people want to choose that offense rather than have to be forced into it because of personnel.
He makes it look he makes it look easy, dude. Like,
that too. That's a problem because then when people go to run it, they're like, "Oh, we could run it because this guy does it," and you're like, "No, bro. Like,
no, you don't have this guy.
You don't have this kind of
guy." This guy. I wish I could. Have I ever brought up clips? Let me see if I can. I don't even know how to spell.
I would be curious to see. Like, I wonder what Michael Vick would have done in a triple option.
This is
offense, because he was just so fast, but he was a different type of fast,
I wonder.
That would have been. It would also be interesting to see some of those programs that used to do that stuff. If they still did it, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that right.
And could those teams still compete with who they compete with doing that?
Can you see? Let's see if you can see this.
Yeah, you could see it. There you go.
Let's watch Jamel.
Look at those tearaways.
Tearaways are great. They were awesome.
Tearaways and everything's AstroTurf. That hurts so bad.
Let's see. Let's see. How much he highlights of Jamel? I mean, look at the feet. Oh, he's just so fast. Oh my God.
Strong.
Yeah, he's not big, but I think he's like 5'9", maybe 5'10".
Oh, that was the boss.
It's like, you know who that is? Guess who he's throwing to there?
That guy?
Yeah. That's he's a Hall of Famer. Tight end, used to play for the Eagles. Caught a million balls.
See, look at him throw. Like, imagine him running zone read.
I mean, he has an arm. But
that's what I'm saying. Imagine him. He couldn't. Well, he wasn't like, hey, I'm just a runner.
What's amazing is he holds the ball in one hand half the time. It's amazing how athletic he is. Like, just freakishly athletic, freakishly quick.
Heisman winner or no?
I think he was a finalist. Oh, one of the years. I think his senior year he might have gotten hurt.
Oh,
in that offense. But
yeah. And then he obviously didn't.
Charles Thompson took his place. Look at that. Look at him. Oh man, look at him go. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, he's little.
He's little. He's moving though. Look, he's holding one hand. He must have big hands.
There's a little throw. Okay, buddy.
I can't believe I can't. Oh, Keith Jackson. That's it. The tight end.
Oh, I got you.
So, Keith Jackson was like a 3-time All-American or something.
Right.
But guess how many catches Keith Jackson would have in a year? It'd be like 10, 11.
15. Yeah, Oh, wow, we're getting up in the big numbers now.
How good do you have to be?
Imagine, you take a quarterback like him, put him in the backfield, and now you're running all your zone reads with all your RPOs. Really?
The only analogy watching him run that he does remind me of is like a Kyler Murray kind of deal.
Yeah.
You know, like I guess Kyler Murray was
He's tiny
back.
like that.
It moves. He always has the ball in one hand. You know, Kyler would have it in one hand.
A little bit, right? Like when he's scrambling, he don't tuck it. He just kind of leaves it out there, kind of letting it go. It just shows you the evolution of the game, though. You know what I mean? Because now most guys nowadays are telling this guy, go play receiver.
Well, yeah, because if he throws a good ball though,
phenomenal.
Yeah, no, you're right. They are. Well, or maybe he's a running, maybe like a slot or a running back. And actually, the truth is, in today's offenses, probably that's where he should be. You know, so.
Yeah, that guy in the slot that can run jet sweep, that can catch those quick passes, right? Get the ball in his hands and kind of wiggle and make moves and go, right? Like, be an athlete.
I think he someone like him had no chance of being a pro back then because
back then, not at the quarterback spot, right? Like they would have firmly made him change positions.
And I think he was probably an option quarterback his whole life. And I bet you
the whole time
that was to go to running back would have been hard. And the slots weren't a big deal back then.
He didn't do anything.
So, today's game, he would be like a Wesley Walker, a Tyreek Hill. Well, Tyreek plays all over, but because he's so fast. But like an Edelman, like he can move around, slot. You know,
even like Devonta Smith from Bama a couple years ago, little guy, right? Like he can do what that guy does and just bounce all over the place. But offenses weren't geared like that. Like you use the tight end more than you use the slot receiver.
Yep. No, you're right. It was like a tight end. I think there was one. It was a flanker, probably. I bet you. What did they do? Was it a flanker or was it maybe it was a Truex? I guess.
Sometimes.
No, I feel like they were double tight end. Were they double? Were they double tight end? They must have been double tight end.
I think everybody tight.
Or maybe they were. Or maybe
I heard that's your new offense.
What's that?
I heard that's your new offense. Too tight.
Well, it's default, my offense. Yeah, too tight.
But like, think about that, right? Like, if you first off, you rarely saw somebody in like 4 wide or 3 wide receivers, right? And then if it was, you just took like a tight end and put him out there in the slot, or you took like your fullback and you put him out. Just kind of lined him up and was like, hey, they weren't really doing anything. But now you look at it like that guy's pivotal, and like most sets are 10 personnel. So you're talking about working with an entire different, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that go back and said, man, if I would have played today, I would have been this, or I wouldn't have played because that position doesn't exist anymore,
Well, the running backs are very upset.
No, very happy human beings.
I saw another thing where a guy was like, I know what it was. It was Ingram. I saw a video by Ingram. Ingram said, Ingram's no longer in the league, right?
No, are you talking Mark Ingram, like Bama?
Yeah.
Like Heisman winner?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's not. I don't think he's in the league anymore.
He said
he's probably salty as hell too, because he was like bounced out before. Probably he felt he should have been.
Well, he said that he felt that he's going to encourage his son to play a different like quarterback or a different position or receiver or DB.
Bro, just go play defense, and you're playing 3
defense,
dude. You want to play? Go play defense and play 3 downs. Sorry, you got to work a little harder to get the recognition. You're not scoring touchdowns. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that your name still gets all over Twitter if you have an interception or you have 10 tackles in a game.
Playing
like
defense.
Just opportunities are. I don't have to come off. Look, if I play receiver, how many times are you even going to throw me the ball? Maybe you're going to look my way 7 times a game. Maybe. Right?
You're running around for the most part.
100%. You're doing stuff. So it's whatever. Yeah. Okay. I might have an opportunity to score a touchdown. That's great. You can make 3 tackles in 3 plays and you're already, you know what I mean? Like, why not? I don't know. That's just always,
I agree with you. Defense, dude.
And so like, I always lobby that way, but I'm just saying, if you want to get on a field and you want to play the most football you can, where you're actually a part of it, go play defense.
No, it is amazing. People look at defense as like it's so funny when are we gonna do the little kids? are we gonna do offense today? I said, yeah, we're gonna do offense. I said, but most of the offense, like most of you guys are blocking. 10 of you are blocking. 10 of you are blocking on a play. Like on defense, you could all get to the ball, all of you.
Right. And then it becomes like a competition. Like, I'm going to beat you. Like, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. Like, so it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand it. I love when I get the look like, man, you should play defense. And then you get that look. You're like, you get that look like, well, I want to play offense. It's the same reason when we do any of our showcases or anything. When we go one-on-ones, there's 450 receivers and there's 100 DBs. It's like, dude, like, you want to get a scholarship? Go do that, even half of whatever, and you'll be on the field, right?
It's crazy to me.
Also, more opportunities. There's only so many quarterbacks. How many quarterbacks are there? I'm pretty sure there's one, right? Like,
I think there's one, yeah.
There's one. That's that kind of. I think there's one, right? Yeah, okay. And then now you look at like DB. I mean, damn. Even if you want to break it down even more, so you could play DB. That's 4 positions. Even if you want to say corner safety, you still have 2 opportunities to get on the field. Like, maximize your opportunity and then critique it from there or go from there, right? I don't know. That's just me. I was always the guy that just wanted to play.
Right.
I wasn't picky about, oh, it's got to be this, it's got to be that, it's got to be. I didn't care. Let's just get me on a field. That's all I want to do is let me just play, right?
Right.
It's the same that I went to the schools that I chose, the colleges that I chose because I wanted to play. I didn't want to sit around for 4 years, put all that work in, and then do something little. No, I wanted to participate. I wanted to go out there. I wanted to play right away. Couldn't stand sitting around. But I don't know. A lot of these guys are so up in their feels about, I got to be a receiver, I got to be a quarterback, I got to be this, that they just want to play that position. And kudos to them if that's the way they want to do it. But when you don't get the opportunity that you expect, then know that that's why you chose that path.
Yep. There's no doubt about it. What else we got going on in college? Any updates on the PJ Fleck thing?
I haven't seen anything come out of that, really. That kind of got hushed real quick. I didn't even see it until you said something to me about it. Now, look, you can really look at, he is the ultimate motivational type of he's got an acronym for every freaking thing he does, row the boats, this all kind of stuff, right? Like, he really pumps that a ton. And for these guys to come out, for guys that don't know what we're talking about, PJ Fleck, the head coach at Minnesota, kind of, some of his former players have come out and said that it's like a cult like following, kind of like, or it's the mental messages and stuff are bordering on kind of bullying type of thing, really.
Yeah, it looks like they got rid of it mostly. So
right.
It looks
like it's not like Northwestern where they had to get rid of the head coach.
Yes, no, it's definitely not.
Right. And I don't think it was anything like of that nature where there was hazing or any of that type. Some of his guys, I guess, at Minnesota just felt like it was, the motivational stuff was so like over the top. It was bordering on a certain way. Now, those guys that probably said that are probably guys that never took a snap. But
I like
that's my feeling about things. Is usually those guys that are loud about those types of things are guys that are not happy with their playing situation.
Well, that's always the case. But
if you're starting, you ain't sure as hell ain't saying this is like a cult.
What would their so they it was something like, what would be their slogan for 2023? It's just because he's like a very,
like I say, he's an acronym guy. He's always got a slogan. He's always got something, right? It's always like, row the boats or it's the same thing that Shiano does with his whole like chop thing, but he only has chop. That's it. This guy's got a motivational acronym for something, for everything.
Well, he said this year they're poise. Their thing is they decided on poise, and then they we knew poise, control, balance in how situations. How can we get this message home? That's where the Poison band came into play. Poison. We can play that.
Yeah, like
anytime they're in the locker room, and if they don't have poise, they'll have poison in that locker room. They've all none of them want to listen to Poison, I guess.
okay, okay.
That's an '80s band. There's no way you listen to that group.
Poison, obvious, yeah. From how I know him from '80s movies. It's like,
oh, Were they in
Weren't they like a hardcore? Aren't they like a
hairband?
Are they like a Guns N' Roses type of like along those lines type of thing? Like these guys with long hair and stuff.
They're a hairband.
That's what they are, right? Like a hair band.
They're different than they were kind of like hair glam almost.
Oh,
Like a little like all right, let's get the education of
what are they? Were they considered metal?
they were considered like that hairband rock. I don't know.
Yeah, like that stuff was big.
That stuff was. Let's see if we can find something good on these guys. Glam metal they called it.
I can't believe that's
Glam
even
metal. I was not really a fan, to be honest, as you would probably expect. But I do know all the songs because everybody was playing that crap.
Well, anybody ever probably played.
I do know them all, but it was like definitely it wasn't my thing. I can tell you that. There they are.
Oh God.
They look like girls to me.
100%. Yeah, they look like they're in like a whatever Simmons workout video.
Richard Simmons.
See, I knew him.
A Richard Simmons workout.
Yeah, everything's like everybody's in like their hair is all up in the beds, and it's like they're all in like these like I don't know leotards or whatever. Looks like they're going to like a freaking gymnastics meet.
Richard Simmons. Let me see. Well, I remember Richard Simmons. Sweating to the oldies.
Yeah, sweating to the oldies, right? But like he's the only guy I knew that worked out every single day and looked exactly the same.
How did he never get any improvement?
How did he never have any muscles or anything like that, dude? Like I don't know.
How is that possible?
I don't know. Apparently,
I just always wonder that. How does someone work out like he worked out and never improve physically?
I guess.
Richard Simmons, here he is.
I mean, also like you look at like remember who was the other dude too? The Tybo guy. Remember that was for a thing for a while.
Tybo,
right?
There he is.
Like Billy Blanks or something. His name was right. Billy Blanks, same thing.
Billy Blanks though was built.
That's what I'm saying. At least he kind of looked the part, right? Like,
yeah.
This guy's like, hey, work out, look like me. It's like, that's what I want to look like. I guess what the alternative is, but like, still interesting. I don't know. And now we look at these college weight room programs, right? These guys go away and they come back 20 pounds heavier, and it's like, and you're like, okay, so that's how you change your body, right? Not sweating to the oldies over here.
Sweating to the oldies. Wow.
Interesting.
What's any big first weekend college matchups?
I think there's a couple. Obviously, like out of conference stuff. I think. Which I saw something last night. I think Oregon's playing somebody that they're like normally not. Whatever. I don't know. I gotta look at
Nebraska.
I gotta see.
Nebraska opens.
Nebraska
opens with Minnesota.
That should be a win.
For who? Nebraska or Minnesota?
Nebraska, I would think. Depends on what he had to do. It depends on how much work he really had to do when he got in there.
Yeah. Well, isn't Minnesota good though? I mean, I don't know. There's not that many. I don't see too many big matchups. The first.
Florida State, somebody.
TCU plays Colorado.
That should be good. TCU coming off of a playoff appearance.
And obviously Dion's going to have a lot of
I almost like want to cry when I see these videos, dude. He's always out there in like a scooter. He's always gimping around. Like he literally has like 1 foot now. It's crazy.
Did they have to do surgery or no?
He had surgery. If you watch some of the stuff like I've seen over the last couple of days, I guess camp started or whatever. He's like on like a Paul Blart scooter, and he never has a shoe on it.
Really?
Yeah, like to that extent. Like he ain't out there like walking from drill to drill. He's like riding from drill to drill.
Really?
Yeah, it's a shame. It's really like it's kind of sad.
That's crazy.
Wild, right?
You know, it's I wonder even though he handles things very well, I wonder if the stress makes it worse for him. like that blood clot and stuff, you know.
In my eyes, I think stress kills stress. You know,
Stress
makes
kills.
right. It's a silent killer. You really have no idea, right? And everybody deals with it in different ways. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. Like some guys are it's very easy to tell when they're stressed, and then some guys you have no clue, but on the inside it's like
They're
that's why I say
boiling.
silent killer, dude.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, for as much persona as he's like all good, whatever, you know, blah blah blah, I'm sure he's worried about everything.
Got to be stressful.
It's something that's like, because it's also like a genetic thing, right? Like he didn't even know he had it until like he had it, and then he had to call his mom and be like, "Mom, do we have blood clots in our family?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, your uncle and you're this and you're that," and he's like, "Shit, I needed to know
and you're
this."
doing that, and you're trying to coach football, like
not only trying to coach football, you're just trying to do something unprecedented.
He tried to build a program.
Build a program a certain way, being who you are, so you got to live up to that every day. Your kids are part of this whole process. So to me personally, when your family's involved in something like that, like I'm gonna give it a little more juice and pay, you know what I mean? Even more so than anything else. Like, but he's also got to rep now his brand. Did you see that he re-signed with Nike?
Dion did.
Yeah, so they're bringing back like his old school like turf shoes and stuff. I'm pumped.
Wow, Bruce
side of that stuff, right? Like,
wow, it's interesting. Bruce, you know who Bruce Feldman is?
Bruce Feldman, reporter.
Yeah, he said that he thinks that Dion's gone by 2024, meaning if it goes really well, he's out. If it goes really bad, he's out. So that he thinks that.
No offense, the foot is a great.
It's a great what?
Like if it don't go good, it's a great. Like escape. Not that he's that person.
No,
but
you know, you might say it's not worth it if it's not going well. If it's going well, you'll stick it out.
Like, look, I don't need to do this. I tried something. My health's more important. Or then it can always be like, hey, if we could have, if I would have been healthy or something like that, right? But then if it goes good, it's also the same thing. Like, hey, this is going great. I'm going to leave it this way. I got to go because my health's more important.
Well, he was saying that like if he does really well, he's moving on to another place.
You think?
You don't think so? You think that his health's he'll do this as long as he can, and then that's just it.
I think yes, because I think this move in itself has been more than he was expecting. Like, I mean, I'm sure he expected whatever, but you can never really predict types. And this is at Colorado. Now he's going to go do it again and go to like a Florida State? I don't know, dude. I don't know if and personally, I think his health and being around with his family is more important than even jeopardizing that in the slightest. As it is, they're already talking like, hey, we got to take your foot. Like that's the next phase of this.
Hell, he's 7 years older than me, so Dion's not young. He's 56.
56.
Yeah.
Then look, it's young, but it's not young.
Well, to be out in the football field,
right? Like Nick Saban's had how many hip surgeries or this or that? You know, like Kirby Smart.
I didn't even know he does.
Oh, yeah, I believe Saban's had hip stuff already. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. But that's another thing. Like, people don't think about a coach's health?
I love how you know all this stuff. You're right. He did have hip surgery.
Dude.
You're a good reader. He did have hip surgery.
But I also like that. To me, I pay attention to that stuff because, like, when he's off, life of a college coach never stops. It's 365. It's 7 days a week. So, you know, when did Nick Saban? When did he have time to take off to get his hip done? Right? Like, you got to.
It's the same day deal. So he went in. They did it.
And whatever, and I'm sure the second he came out of surgery, he was like, like,
"Are you coming to Bama? Are you coming to Bama? Are you coming to Bama?"
I just had surgery, and I'm tweeting or I'm texting you from my hospital bed. That's how bad I want you to come to Bama.
Group text with coaches.
His wife. Now, Miss Terry's probably pissed. Like, get off the damn phone, Nick. Like, we need to heal here. And he's like, no. This guy's a 5-star. I got to get him in the building. He's going to Georgia tomorrow. I got to make sure he's coming.
He's on a group text with his staff. Make
I
sure
also
you
saw
guys
another thing. You remember,
all send a letter to so and so.
right?
What?
Remember the wrestler Bill Goldberg,
Yeah.
ball dude, whatever.
Mhm.
Bama just offered his kid a preferred walk-on spot as a receiver, just
Okay.
to keep him from going to Georgia. Is like how they're spinning it. Like, there's no way this kid's ever gonna play at Bama. He's literally looks like a 5'8" wide receiver. But I mean, obviously, he's Bill Goldberg's kid. He's yoked,
He's
but
put together.
he, I guess Bama offered him a PWO just to keep him away from Georgia or something.
Why is it where he went, Georgia or something?
I guess he was like, yeah, I guess like he's just like, just like one of those things like, hey, he could help, but like you never know. So like, let's just keep him from there. And it said like Saban's done this in the past. So I was like, okay.
Well, it looks like he's as tall as his. It looks like he's as tall as his dad.
I don't think
know.
Goldberg was very tall. I
But
don't
wasn't
even know.
he a Gage Goldberg, a linebacker prospect, given an opportunity as a preferred walk-on? Gage Goldberg. I'd like to watch his highlight tapes. Let's see.
And listen, I'm sure
You know I'm on it already right now. I got to see how good he is.
I saw it the other day. I loved it. I'm like,
Oh, he's 6 feet 205, decent size. Here he is in pictures with Nick Saban.
Yeah.
He is really not that big.
No, I told you he's like the same size as Nick.
He ain't 6. It says he's 6 feet.
Yeah, I told you.
I don't know.
No way. That's one of those in cleats.
He's 6 feet. He's 6 feet, and so are you. Then so you're 6 feet there.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
6'5".
That's what I'm saying. Then you're
Great.
6'5".
Yeah, if I was coming out now, I'd be like, I'm 6'4". People, they'd be like,
I'd be
they'd beat me up. 6'4".
No doubt.
I mean, what your guy from with Coach Jackson from West Virginia said about these guys with height.
And he laughs. He's like, now he goes, great. Now I'm walking a guy who told me he was 6'2". He's not even 6 foot, and I got to walk him into Coach Brown's office, and I just wasted 10 minutes. And he's like, now he's pissed. Like, please give me your right play because I'm gonna figure it out eventually, and we're only wasting everybody's time,
He's not fast, Goldberg's kid. He is aggressive.
I'm
watching it.
His dad's signature move was like the spear, right? Like, didn't he like? I don't know. I thought it was like a charge type of whatever move. I don't. Sometimes I think these guys get offers just because, or they're just on the scene because of
Well, after watching his film, I could safely say that he is a
preferred walk-on.
Well, he's preferred because Nick Saban's no dummy. That's why. Because Nick Saban's like, oh, Goldberg's going to be a part of the program now.
Right. He's also, okay, so now I just got every wrestling fan or whatever come over, and then, I also don't have to worry about this kid, whatever, because he's got NIL, obviously.
He's got his own NIL. I wonder.
So to me, that's something that is interesting, right? With NIL, think about it. So a guy like that, obviously people are going to throw money at him because of who he is. He's Bill Goldberg's kid.
Oh, yeah, he
may not step foot on the field and be a player, but now he's in the locker room making all this NIL money, and the dudes that are actually playing aren't making anything. What does that do, right? Like, do you guys not even care because it's like, whatever, dude, you don't even play? Or it's, well, that's bullshit. I play and I still don't make money.
What's so funny is how people get this wrong. One news outlet reports he gets an offer from a scholarship offer from Alabama. That's not true.
Nope.
It's a preferred walk-on.
See, people don't know that.
Dude,
right?
It's so funny how
how you can skew, dude, smoke and mirrors.
It's crazy.
You can make yourself a way better player than you are by just and
that's going to Georgia.
That's why I think when Coach Jackson was saying, I'll talk to whoever, right? Like high school coach, 7-on-7 coach, trainer. I'll talk to all these guys because if I'm going to offer you a scholarship, then I want to know who you are around the whole thing. I just don't need your handler telling me how good you are. I know that part.
Absolutely. Well, hot water heaters, they can be a problem.
Oh yeah, Coach Holman. He just texted me again, apologizing, and he had a hot water issue, so my basement's flooded. I said, well, that's gonna be rough since camp starts on Monday, buddy.
Is it raining up there, or
By me?
is it raining by you, or no?
Yeah, it's starting to drizzle. Temperature's been nice though. Are you you got any plans to head up to Jets camp?
Next, maybe next week, like Friday or Saturday. This today we're gonna go till Sunday. Go up to Ghana. I don't know what the weather's like, but we're gonna go to Lake George for a couple of days, like Saratoga. Yeah.
So jealous.
Stay in a hotel and
The Sagamore?
nah.
I'm messing with you.
I've stayed there. I've stayed there.
But it's so hard to get in the summer.
You can't get. It's too expensive for what you're getting.
I just love Lake George, bro.
Yeah, we stayed in the Sagamore when Troy was.
I remember.
And we got a great rate because it was
the year you weren't coaching. 21.
No.
So I think you were able to go later.
Before that. It was the year.
COVID year, maybe?
It was the year I didn't coach. It might have been. Troy was a baby. It was the year. It was when we had Troy. So the first year.
I remember you going there, and I'm like, oh, you're at Lake George. Like, Lake George is the best. Because my uncle's farm's 20 minutes from there. My cousin has a boat. My cousin has a boat.
Right. We did stay there twice. The second time was like it was maybe after, right? We weren't coaching, but the first time I went was when he was first born. I didn't coach that year, and we got a great rate because when we went after the season, September, like after Labor Day.
The most amazing time. People don't understand, like, it's and being down here when all the North Jersey people go back, right? And it's post Labor Day, like that 21 season where we didn't coach and we kind of just like floated around. Man, I'm telling you, like, to have an August and September, there's nothing like it. It's phenomenal, especially after being in it forever and just kind of like, okay, here comes August, here comes camp, here comes, the same dog and pony show, the same routine. That most underrated time, I think, in the Northeast is that September, first week in October. Because look, the water's still warm, right? Like I can still go out on the wave runner in late September and the water still be 70 degrees. The first frost hasn't hit yet. Like you're still out there. There's no traffic. Nobody's doing anything. All the prices and stuff have come back down because now the summer push is out. It's just great. Like going up to see a game at Army, Missy Stadium. Oh, right on the water. Nothing like that. Yeah. Great place to see a game. Atmosphere wise, phenomenal.
I'm gonna try and go some games this year if I can.
Well, think about it. You have a nice little crew too, right? Like you can now, hey Troy, what friend do you want? Or another dad that maybe you work with or something like that. The four of you can go and kind of whatever. Or take Nicole. She's a ride or die. She's good like that. That's an awesome experience to go to some of those games. I mean, you can go to any Rutgers game you want for free, pretty much. So I bet you
I could go to any West Point game.
Yeah, just call and ask.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we have a club that's. I wonder how they they have to now, even though
have to cater to the club teams.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm the Borg B707 club, and
right, like, hey, I got a couple guys that I'd like to bring to a game, like, what? Yeah,
they must.
So and so from whatever schmo high school, and I got Billy Taylor, who's thinking about going to okay, sure, come on.
I'm trying to think, like, we should actually, it's something we should probably send out to our guys if there's, if you're interested in going to. Well, they could probably just do it through their high school though, but
good. But if those guys aren't talking about it or taking advantage of it,
yeah.
High school coaches are worried about I got to win next week, not hey, I got to get you to Army on Saturday. Now those guys may call like, so we do it all. We see it all the time, right? Hey, so and so won't make Saturday film session because he's going here or he's going here. That's what Saturdays are for. That's why high school football is supposed to be played on Friday night. So that Saturday you can now go and visit whatever school wants you to be there. That's how it was posed to me.
You guys have to get yourself a Murray for your staff.
What do we need?
Unless you already have. You need like a Brian. You know how Brian Murray helps. Was Nikki was saying
DFO,
that?
Yeah, DFO behind the scenes. He actually hit me up yesterday. It was pretty funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like, heard you got some heard you got some nice heard you got two freshmen that look pretty good. I'm like, look, buddy, settle down, dude. Yeah, he was messing with me. He's like, keep those boys in house. I said, come on, dude. Like, really? Stay above the bridge, bro. Like, we're good. But he's just funny. But hey, I get it. Plus, they're coming down here to scrimmage. Why not? Take a shot.
Are they? Who are they scrimmaging here?
We're scrimmaging them.
DePaul?
Yeah, we have a quad. It's us, DePaul, St. Augustine, and St. Thomas Aquinas.
When is that?
That is our first one. So it's the 13th, 15th, something like that. It's our first scrimmage quad. So
I'm going to come watch.
Oh yeah, it should be a goodie.
Is it at night or in the morning?
I think we're going in the morning because it's our first one, and then we only have one scrimmage, and then we're doing a game scrimmage against Manalapan, and then game.
I like that. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
all right, let's wrap it up.
With that of a scrimmage, yeah, we're good. All right, man. Good talk.
Good chat.
Always. Topics out too.